Hello everybody and welcome to the RSF1 charity stream, or a continuation of it of course. We're now 8 hours in, 2/3 of the way through, just 4 hours to go, and we're here now on F1 2020 with a bit of a Bahrain short 100% race. A little bit different to anything I've really ever seen on this game. Not seen a 100% race around here ever, and I'm not sure many of these guys have either at the moment, which is what's going to make it so interesting, I think. Very much looking forward to it. Commentating for you today, it's Ewan O'Leary or Welty, and I'll be with you for the next hour and a half, maybe an hour and 3/4, or however long this is going to be. It's good to have you all along. I hope you've been enjoying the stream so far. Of course, it's all a charity stream to help Shrimper in his battle against cancer, and we wish him all the best. I'll add my wishing of the best to Shrimper himself, because yeah, I haven't been here so far, but and I feel a bit bad for not having been here so far, but you know, we'll not worry about that. I'm glad to be here to stream this one. Obviously I do watch or stream a fair amount of these races, so I hope I know what I'm doing by this point, but you never know. Looks like things have all gone smoothly so far. I can see a couple of people chatting already in the chat, and that's good to see what it's all about. All a bit about community, I guess, as well, throughout today. Let's get into the format then. Short qualifying of 18 minutes, followed by a 100% race. 58 laps around this Bahrain short circuit, which is going to take them just over an hour. We're expecting, if there's an intervention of the safety car, then maybe it's going to be even longer than that. But it's not going to be the full 1 hour and a half, 1 hour and 3/4, or however long a normal 100% race will be. They don't add laps because it's a short circuit, they just keep it the same, which is useful for us here because it keeps the distance to a little bit longer than 50%, but not ridiculously like 2 hours or something like that, which is good. But as I mentioned, it's just me on my own at the moment. Yeah, I'm going this one alone, but the action should keep things very interesting indeed. So far in this session, we've got a lot of soft tyre runners towards the front. Al Def is currently leading by a 1/10 of a second. Easton and Cornish both behind. And yeah, it's, as I said, good to see everybody jumping into the chat at the moment. It's my pleasure to be along for today. And yes, I do remember commentating on Shane a very long time ago. Well, I don't want to say a very long time ago because I don't want to make him feel old, but I feel kind of old. It's been a very long time since I've seen Shane in a F1 lobby that I've been commentating on, though. But no problem. I'm glad to be along. And yeah, a few names that I do actually recognise as well. People like Easton I've commentated on before. Mr. Piddymunch I've spent most of the last 6 months commentating on for WR, and a couple of other guys in here as well. Hush, who's been TSRO, and we did commentary together as well with Shane. Wow. I forgot about that, but there we go. I really did forget about that. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, I'm glad to be along, as I said. Either way, still leading the session, Aldef in the Red Bull at the moment. Currently on board with Unity Hush here, who's now taken 2 TSRO titles in the last couple of seasons. He's been doing very well indeed, and so he's gone a bit wide. Into that turn there, turn number 6, as it is in this configuration. He backs off, clearly not particularly impressed with how that lap's gone down so far. Let's go on board for a proper lap then, with Sink down here in the Ferrari. He hasn't set a lap time so far, and I hope we're going to continue this one out until the end, so we can really get a view of what this circuit is like. Turns 1 to, that's a bit wide into turn 1, but he's gathering it up nicely for a bit of a better run. Well, it's not going to matter as much as normal, because coming straight out to turn 3, sharp right-hander, more than 90-degree radius, and so it's very important that you get that good run down this straight towards turn 6, as he misses the apex ever so slightly there as well, does Dan. So a couple of apex missed so far, but it'd be good to get a banker lap in. And then the very sketchy turn 7, flat out, but you don't want to hit that curb because you will have some problems. And then going towards the final corner on the circuit, which is turn 9, and turn 10 is called a corner as well, but I wouldn't really count it as one. Either way, these guys do, and we're going to go over the line now with Dan, see what this kind of lap time is going to be. It's 5th place for the moment, gets himself into that top group along with Josh, who's jumped up into 4th place. and that's a good performance from him so far. Pushes into the final corner now in the Mercedes, and we'll see where he gets up to, presumably inside the top 5, maybe a little bit further back than that. 9th place for him at the moment, just over half a second down. Mr. Pigeon Munch has been out on these tyres for quite a long time now, but laps aren't very long around here, so you can get away with it. And that's what Mr. Podium Interviews is using to his advantage right now. Just accelerating out onto the second to last straight. Not a DRS straight around this circuit, but still important. Down towards the final corner now. Bit of a lock-up on the front right, but it shouldn't hamper him too much. Might be able to get inside the top 5 with this. Not quite. Jumps up to 6th though. And he is just behind Dan. Invalidations, a couple of them floating around so far, but not too many. Going to be a factor in the race though. Keeping away from them, very important. As I mentioned, under 1 minute in terms of the lap time here, so it's actually going to be an under 1 hour race. I did a Bahrain short 50% yesterday, but that was in classic cars, so that's slightly skewed my view of how long this race is going to be. A lot of times coming in, by the way. Apologies for not keeping up with it, but it's pure frantic action at the moment, and Easton is going quite well at the moment. 1 3/4 attempts up on his previous best, and this is projecting him into the lead of this session. Is he going to take provisional pole with just under 10 minutes to go? He is indeed. 73 thousandths of a second to Al Def, who's in the Red Bull, and he's just in behind, and slipstreaming teammates here. The other Red Bull just getting out of the way, but not before giving a hefty slipstream to Al Def, who's taking very nice use of it actually. Had to have 2 goes at turn 7 actually there, which is not ideal, but gathering himself up nicely, runs it across the curb and invalidates. Just ever so slightly too far over the edge. And that's going to be an invalidation for him. Meanwhile, Cornish coming through turn number 8. A lot of traffic out there, as you can see on the minimap though. It's really quite hectic. Very frantic opening minutes, and it's going to be frantic at the end as well. And he comes into the pit lane, does Cornish. So Al Def is going again though, since he was able to just save a little bit a moment ago. Looks like Josh is on a lap time here as well. We'll have a look at him in a few moments' time. Just heading down towards turn number 1. Over 2 tenths back for the moment, but that's not very much. Even at a circuit like this. Yellow flag going further back down the road. One of the Williams of Michael just going a little bit slowly, I think. Might have run out of fuel. Pulls to the right hand side and gets out of the way of everybody though. Al Def not stopping for anybody though. He is in 2nd place right now, and is it about to become 1st? It is indeed. 6 thousandths of a second between himself and Easton. Getting very close between those guys. Nothing to choose between them really. There's a number of people backing off at this point actually. RSF1 Source is in the final corner right now as Dangerous Dan moves up to 3rd place. Looking pretty dangerous right now, I have to say. Living up to his name with 7.5 minutes to go. And despite an improvement there, and despite the fact he's only 7 tenths down, Source is just behind Hush in 16th place. Very close between everybody. Just a word on strategy as well. I know we haven't talked about that at all yet, but I've got no idea what's going to happen. That's very, very good for us, because it means it's unpredictable. And I'm looking forward to that, I have to say. Bit of unpredictability. Can't beat it. And so one stop's probably going to be the order of the day. That's what normally happens on these F1 games these days, because that's what happens in real life these days, but it doesn't make it any less disappointing. Nothing we can do about it, of course. I just wish we'd have more 2-stop races in real life as well. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Push comes over the line now. 7th place for him, much more like what we're used to seeing from him actually. As Mr. Pigeon Munch is improving by 1.5 on this lap as well. Could well get back in front of Hush with this lap time if he's continuing the way he's projected to. And he has massively, nearly 4 tenths up This could get him right in the mix onto the front 2 rows maybe. So this is a very good lap time from Mr. Pigeon Munch, massively improved from where he was this time last lap. And where's he going to be? Oh, same time as Aldef. Wow! Look at how close it is at the moment. 4 drivers separated by about half a tenth. And I know this circuit's very short, but it does show we have a very, very close grid and a very close race in store as well. Make sure you stay tuned in for it because it's going to be fantastic. Where's Shrimper? He's actually out there at the moment on a lap time. Just pulling to the left-hand side a little bit. Might be, oh no, his teammate's nearby, but not getting a slipstream for the moment. This is the man, of course, that the charity stream is for. I guess, unfortunately, but it is fortunate that everybody's pulled together so nicely and donated. Over £600 so far, from the last time I looked anyway. It might be more than that now. But you can donate. If you go to the RSF1 Twitter, you can find it. You can also find it in the Twitch chat right now. It's just been £945 we're at, sorry. So that's a massive improvement for when I last looked. But we're approaching, £1,000, which is a great effort from everybody. But we've still got nearly 4 hours to go, so we can keep going and keep bumping that total up. And I'll put my hand in as well after the stream. Been a bit busy setting up the stream, but I'll do it afterwards. Yeah, if we get to 1,000 by the end of the race, then that'll be very nice. It's a good target to have. Wow, Locker's target right now is trying to stay on the circuit, and he nearly didn't manage it there. Locker's someone who I haven't commentated on for a very long time as well, but I do remember from back in the TSRL days. We're up to, we just had another £30 in the very last few moments. Yeah, thank you to whoever that was, but fantastic work from everybody so far. Well, still nearly 4 hours to go, so we can get that total up to at least 1,000 by the end of this race, and I hope that we can achieve that. Let's get back to this qualifying session very briefly then, before we get to the end of it. Michael in the Williams there moves up to 10th place, and Dan in the recent pass has got himself into 5th. So we've got 5 drivers separated by less than a tenth at the moment. Cornish trying to join them, but hasn't had the best last few minutes, it has to be said. He struggled on his last couple of timed laps, but maybe this can be a bit of an improvement for him. Dangerous Dan in front is actually also on the road. Is he improving though? This is turn 8, and he's going to struggle to improve from this point, I think. And yeah, he's 1.8 seconds down. Dan's invalidated, so Cornish it is. We'll look at him now, but I'm afraid he's 7 tenths down. So then, just over 3 minutes to go. And all 20 drivers are on the grid here for this one. They've all set a lap time as well. Hopefully it's going to be a very competitive race. Expect a couple of these guys to get lapped though. It's a very, very short circuit, so with just under it, you only have to lose a minute and you'll be a lap down. So expect to see a little bit of that going on, but of course there'll be ghost cars, so that'll be all okay. Dangerous Dan in the 4th place at the moment there. He's just half a tenth back from Aldef, who's been on top in this qualifying session for quite a while. Slowing down quite a lot actually, I think that's him. It is indeed. Going wide through turn 8 just to let everybody through and set himself up for a last attempt at this, but Dangerous Dan, I'm afraid, he's going to need another one at this rate. He's down on his current lap time. A lot of people on outlaps at the moment, just over 2 minutes to go, and it's about to get very exciting indeed with these guys. Incredibly close qualifying session for the moment as Cornish does improve ever so slightly in that one. As now, Aldef has actually invalidated this and next lap time, which is really not great for him, I have to say. Josh reaching nearly 210 miles an hour going down towards turn 1. Low downforce setup around here. You do have a couple of high speed ones around the back of the circuit, but not too much to worry about really. And so you can really trim the car out and fly down these straights. It's going to make overtaking a little bit easier as well. A little bit, well, I don't know actually if it's going to be easier or more difficult, but this circuit does produce fantastic racing. I think that's why it was chosen. but I've never seen a 100% race around here, so it'll be interesting to see how it races for that kind of distance. Just longer than a normal 50% would be, but obviously not quite the full hour and a half. As Josh backs off on this lap time, actually. So where is the next lap time going to come from? Easton looks like he may well clip provisional pole here with this lap time, even though I know he's only 15 seconds in and he's done 3 corners by the time I said that, but he's only 6,000s down, so he doesn't exactly need to do loads to get his time up the order, and he's already half a tenth up, so looking good. But is he going to stay there? He's got his teammate Mr. Pigeonmunch and Aldeth nose to tail at the moment behind him. Dangerous Dan also, and the other Dan, Sink Dan, is trying to get up the order. Hush gets into 5th place. Good effort from him there to get within a tenth of a second as well. This is looking remarkably close as it stands. Easton's into the final corner right now with just 20 seconds remaining. He can have another crack at this if he wants to, and he might go for it, but he might get pole as well. Over the line, and he's over 2.5 tenths away. That's very, very good from Easton. First one into the 27s, but is Aldeth going to join him? He's on time with Mr. Pigeonmunch at the moment, and he can't improve by enough. Mr. Pigeonmunch can't really either. He's going over the line and starting again. Sink Dan is in turn 8 at the moment and trying to improve, but it's going to be looking very, very difficult for anybody to get near Easton at the moment. Aldeth does join him in the 57s, but 2 tenths away at a circuit like this. Easton's put in a very good performance there. Dan comes into the pit lane. What about Hush? He's going again here. 2nd lap in a row. And he does improve. Gets over his teammate of Dangerous Dan. Mr. Pigeonmunch is half a second down. Aldeth has backed off, so it looks like Dangerous Dan's the last man actually setting a lap time here at the front of the field. Comes out of turn 8 right now, and is this going to be an improvement? It is slightly. But can he get back ahead of his teammate? Both Mercedes and AlphaTauri putting in a good performance, and both Red Bulls actually as well. It's manufactured dominance a little bit, but Dangerous Dan trying to get himself onto the front 2 rows, and he can't quite manage it. The last corner wasn't too kind to him, so Easton takes pole position. He didn't take that second opportunity, the second bite of the cherry, but in the end he didn't need it. Over 2 tenths better than Aldeth in that qualifying session. So a fantastic performance from him to take pole for the Bahrain Grand Prix, albeit a shortened one in terms of the length anyway. There you have it then. Qualifying finished and Easton is on pole ahead of Aldeth. And then we've got Mr. Pigeonmunch, Hush, Dangerous Dan, then Sink Dan. And all of the other names as we scroll down towards the others. Further down the order. A lot of British people, I have to say. That's to be expected. Just while we're in the intermission then, I will remind you that in case you haven't already gathered from the title of the stream, 12-hour charity stream here today for Shrimp, who's recently been diagnosed with cancer, and we wish him all the best, as I mentioned earlier. And you can do the same by donating. It was posted in the chat not so long ago, so if you just look at the top of the chat bar at the moment, you can find it. The link to donate, that is. But also, if you prefer Twitter, then you can find it on the RSF1 Twitter as well. And I retweeted it a moment ago as well, so if you follow me, then you can manage it, but I don't know who does. So go to the RSF1 Twitter, or just scroll up in the Twitch chat and you can donate. We're nearly at £1,000, £25 away. And by the end of the F1 race, we are really hoping that that will be the case, that we'll be on £1,000 by the end of it. I'm going to actually have a look at the link myself now, just so I can keep a live update on it myself. And there we go, £975 from 21 people. Which is very good to see indeed. I'm glad to see everybody donating and pulling it together. Just a moment away now from the start of this race. As I mentioned, 58 laps around here, just under a minute laps. So it might be kind of the length of a wet Singapore 50% if you want to, or maybe just a normal Singapore 50%. Not entirely sure if the safety car's turned on for this one. I should have had a look in the lobby at the start of this. Maybe someone will be able to tell me. But that could shake things up. Strategy is always going to be key. And it's a bit up in the air as to what these guys are going to go for, because I can't imagine there's been many 100% races run around here. 58 laps is quite a lot for this amount of time. Going to be getting a bit dizzy. Obviously, as you've just seen, it's not quite the same short circuit as we've seen in real life F1 a few months ago, but it's better, I think. I mean, the real life short one did produce a good race, but this produces fantastic racing. I've seen a couple of examples already, even in classic cars which don't race amazingly. Last night I saw a decent race, good battling. You can go side by side for pretty much a lap around here. Oh yeah, there's my Twitter, by the way. Shane's just posted that in the Twitch chat. There's me, but it's not about me. It's all about Shrimper, of course, but either way, we are live with the social race. We'll be getting going in a few minutes' time, by the way. Lots of battles, lots of safety cars expected, as the RSF1 tweet suggests. That they posted out a few minutes ago. Excuse me. Just waiting for the first person to ready up. I imagine they're under orders not to for the moment. Just to let everybody set their fuel low, set their strategy, and we'll get going sooner rather than later. Don't worry about that. So, encouragingly, from that qualifying session, very, very close between everyone. You kind of expect it really from the kind of racing we have normally, or the shortness of the circuit as well. And so, there we go. People starting to ready up now. They were under orders, by the way. First to ready up, as Shane just mentioned there. So, there you go. That's happened now. And so we're moments away from the formation lap starting at the very least, and we'll get another view as to what the starting order is. Easton, who took pole by over 2 tenths in the end. And that's a big margin around this circuit, but shows he's doing very well at the moment. 2 stops expected by the game, but just a prediction. Just a prediction from the game anyway, which is not always the most accurate, I have to say. Sometimes it's wildly out one way or the other. Says it's a 2-stop when it's going to be a 1-stop and vice versa. So we can't really trust it until these guys begin to come into the pit lane whenever they decide to come in. Obviously, according to their strategy, maybe someone will have to go off kilter. 57 laps, excuse me. I've been saying 58 the whole time. The reason I said that is 29 for a normal 50%, I believe, but it's not double for this. Obviously, 50% is done to 152.5 kilometres, I think, and 100% is done to 305 kilometres, and that could be a little bit different. It's not always double for 100%, if you see what I mean, but we won't worry about that. 57 laps around here, and still a similar length. Just under an hour of racing tonight, about 55 minutes I'd expect in the end. Maybe a bit more. Depends how many safety cars you get, really. Could throw up some excitement for us. I don't think we're going to need one, though. Easton leads them around then. Very short formation lap around here, as you might imagine. And he's going to be the first man to line up on the grid. Aldef's going to be not far behind him. Mr. Pidgeon's lining up behind his teammate on the grid. Push alongside Dan, or Dangerous Dan, heading in 4th and 5th. Sink Dan rounding off the first 3 rows. Then Unsun, I'm going to go with that, for 7th place. I'm not entirely sure. Josh Cornish and Sainz rounding out the top 10. And I'm sure we'll get a look at all the other guys up and down the order. Differing strategies, all 3 different tyre compounds represented here on the starting grid. So many different strategies in play. And we're looking forward to it. Pressure is going to rise in a moment's time. We'll be underway. The lights will be coming on. Here they go. 5 red lights coming on now for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Already a jump start from Sauce in the background, and that's a disaster for him, but we're underway at the front of the field. Aldef has not had the greatest start. It looks like Hush has got down his inside already. Might be going for Hush. He's trying to maybe even get first. He was alongside turn 2. Hush has made a very good start. Overtaken by Hush, but he's overtaken Aldef. He's in third. Dangerous Dan also gets past Aldef, who's not had a very good start, and so he's down to fifth place. Under pressure now from his teammate, he's having to defend from Unsun. Around the outside, maybe at turn 7, he goes wide though, and Cornish is going to try and get through. So's Josh, who's actually making up positions around the outside at turn 7. Cornish trying to go around the outside at turn 8. It's not been a good start for either of the Red Bulls, but it looks like everybody has nearly got away cleanly. Lincoln, I'm afraid, has gone for a spin on the hard tyres as the battles continue. Sink Dan with not a great start, it has to be said. He's down to 10th now. And Sights and Michael both fall over the back of him at the moment. It's just jumping around a little bit in terms of the leaderboard right now. But don't worry about it, it's going to sort itself out at the end of Sector 1 here. Let me show you that it's Easton still lead, who's in second place. When the DRS gets enabled, we'll really get a view as to what the order is going to be throughout the race and what the pattern of the race is going to be. In the gravel a little bit there from Unson. The Source is in to serve his drive-through penalty. A terrible start for both Racing Point cars. Lincoln with a spin, Source with a drive-through. Sure, he just slipped off the clutch or something on the start there. Go in this race. Easton still leaves then at the end of lap 2, and it's going to be enabled at the end of this lap. He's trying to stretch it out so that he can break the DRS, but I don't think he's just under a bit of pressure right now. Big train at the moment. Oh, bit of a slide actually from Aldef. Turn 4 has been really tricky for a lot of these guys so far in qualifying, and it's going to be in the race as well. Similar pattern. So single file down to 14th place. DRS is enabled now, and Mr. Pidimont is trying to grab onto some. Bush is trying to retain it at the moment, because we have our first penalty of the day. BF1 racer. 3-second time penalty already for him, I'm afraid, as the DRS looks like it's being lost ever so slightly, as I have been kicked out of the race. That's fantastic. Thanks, game. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I've been kicked out of the game. If somebody could maybe send me an invite, that'd be great. But I don't know if anybody can, really, which is a shame. But yeah, Easton was leading. It looked like he was about to break the DRS of Hush in that one. Now let me have a look to see if I can maybe grab a join here from somebody who's in the race, preferably. Maybe I can join off somebody's profile. I can! That's good. Yeah, I can join off his profile. Yeah, I've just managed to join off his profile. To mute everybody so I don't come through to everyone. That would be bad. And we'll get back into the race. Apologies for that, but as somebody mentioned in the chat a moment ago, Locker has had a fantastic start there. And he's got up into 11th place from 19th. And by the way, just while we're doing this, we've just had a £30 donation in, and the total has gone up to £1,005. So we have indeed got to the £1,000 target by the end of the race, which is good. Glad to see it. Still got a long way to go in this race, though, of course, and 3.5 hours left of the charity stream. So make sure you continue to get those donations in. While we've been away, then, BF1 Racer has unfortunately retired from the race in the pit lane. Not the greatest start, it seems, but everybody else in one line. The DRS has been enabled. Easton couldn't quite break it, and Hush has now got some DRS again, and it's going to be very difficult to break it from here without a miraculous pit stop strategy or something similar. 7/10, 6/10 of a second, so well and truly in the DRS window, which is very good to see indeed. Good for us in the race, certainly. All very, very close at the front of the field right now. Just over half a second between Hush and Easton. And as you can see, the gap's all the way down to 13th. Braver Container, who we haven't mentioned so far today, is in that position, and he's tugging onto the back of this train. They're all on soft tyres, unsurprisingly. The ones on mediums struggling a little bit for a bit of grip, I'd imagine. Although we're just in a bit of a holding pattern. Easton's doing a lot to try and break the DRS for Hush. Or at least break the slipstream down the straights, try and reduce the advantage that Hush is getting from that. It's clever driving. And Hush making a bit of a mistake there through the final corner. He's going to be under real pressure now from Mr. Pittimunchi. He just lets him go. No point in fighting this one at the end of the straight here. We've still got over 50 laps to go. And there's no point fighting for second as if it's for the World Championship right now. If he wants a chance at winning this race, he's just got to let Mr. Pittimunchi go and accept that he's just made that mistake. See Easton again weaving down the straights. AlphaTauri 1-2 at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a battle for pit stop priority there as J Locker also Locker used to be called J Locker back in the day, by the way, just in case I say that accidentally, but he's retired now from the session, I'm afraid. And a bit of a spin there for Braver Container in the soft tyre field, and so it's kind of been split up and it's just fragmenting a little bit at the back. Sink Dan struggling to hang on here. And we're going to see that. We're going to see selections made. The first one was made at 13 with the soft tyre runners really getting into line. And now it looks like maybe a top 6 will be breaking away rather soon. Because, yeah, it looks like Stygian is struggling to hold on a little bit in the McLaren. Unson's trying not to let that happen, and he down the inside of Cornish there. Oh, as he gets a penalty there, does the Williams driver. Just jumped across that curb. And that's what's going to happen, I'm afraid, if you do cut it indeed too many times. Aldef down the inside of Hush, who's really not wanting to use a lot of his ERS and resources right now, but he goes for the cutback here. He's going to try and get it on the outside at turn 7. This would be so brave. And he's going to try and stick it out there. Gives him the outside for the next corner as well, which doesn't help him out that much. But he's going to try it still again. Aldef hits the curb. And Hush holds on. Big battle, though, for only 3rd place at this stage in the race. They're kind of letting the leaders go away a little bit. Real big stack up, though. Dangerous Dan is here. Josh is getting on terms as well. They all go fanning out and defending now. Hush at the head of this train and moves it to the middle of the road, but it doesn't discourage Aldef from going down the inside. And the Red Bull looks like he's going to have that one done nicely. Does Hush's teammate try and overtake him again? No, he's fighting back actually. Trying on the outside now at turn 3 and 4. And now this is going to be a big, big battle. Once you get into one around this circuit, you can't really get out of them because you can't really get away. And Hush is seeing that right now. He's around the outside at turn 6, and he's finally through. Dangerous Dan and Joss now so close behind as we go aboard with the Haas driver. Oh, nose to tail as Unson goes for a spin around turn 7. I presume that was on the curb, and he has dropped a long way down now because of that. Meanwhile, we're down to a leading 2 in the DRS train. Oh, that was a bit of a fake to the pit lane there from Easton. Maybe we're thinking about those kind of pit strategies already. Outside line for Aldef. Here we go. He's going to try and make this one work. Dangerous Dan nearly made it 3 wide into turn 1 there. He'd be glad he didn't. Hush now concedes the place. Josh and Dangerous Dan continue to fight as one of the Renaults gets back onto the circuit and oh, it's chaos. 3 wide off turn 3. Goodness me. Aldef drops 2 places, maybe 3. Stygian gets through as well. Aldef is down to 7th place with Stygian straight through. Hush heads the train then, and Dangerous Dan gets a penalty for ignoring yellow flags, I'm afraid. He got through on Josh under the yellow flag period, which was for Braver Container, who was retired there. huge battle going on for third place at the moment. Really interesting fight between these 5 drivers, and they can't seem to stop it at the moment. Aldef making up for lost ground as the 2 Mercedes go side by side into turn 1. Late on the brakes from Dangerous Dan, but Hush isn't giving up. He doesn't want to concede this third place by any means, but he might have to. He might have to concede another as well to Josh, who's down the inside. So close between those 2. A little bit of wheel banging. A little bit of speed as well here for Hush as we look backwards, and he goes try and go down the inside at turn 6. Stygian tried to go down the inside of both of them, but that's not going to work. Side by side through this corner. This is fantastic racing. Losing so much time to the 2 AlphaTauris, but I don't think they even care right now. It's fantastic racing. From 3rd down to 11th. It's all one long train. Bit of a mistake from Hush, although he does get a good drive off the corner. Didn't look like the greatest mid-corner there, but good run onto the front straight. Down the inside he goes. Is Josh going to make it 3 wide? No, not quite. Hush gets the position back, does he? Dangerous Dan's going to have to try and hold on here, because Josh is down his outside at turn 2. He's going to get the inside for 3 and 4, and that's going to give him the place, is it? Or not? Very even run off the exit, and the McLaren in the background. Stygian's going to try and get through on both of them, maybe. Or is he going to settle for where he is right now? I don't think about it. So meanwhile, those behind are battling, having their own battle, really, which is causing them to struggle to get on terms with these 5 a little bit. .3 seconds is the gap between this crazy battle and the 2 AlphaTauris in front. Easton and Mr. Pigeonmunch still leading this race. Easton still weaving to break the slipstream. But this is where it's all happening. Look at all the defensing, look at all the diving. This time it's Dangerous Dan who's got the inside line. Big dive as well from Sink Dan, who's got past Cornish, but the 2 Mercedes going side by side is the primary entertainment. Josh trying to get involved as well. Hush gets a good run on the exit of turn 4. Is he going to be able to stay there though? He hasn't got DRS to do that. And so Dangerous Dan's going to be down his inside. Hush gives him the room. And this side by side off of the corner as well. Needs to be careful to stay off this curb, does Hush, or he's going to cause a huge accident. And he does well. Holds on to the place as well, which is better news for him as well. Sink Dan trying to get through on Cornish there. It's cost him a position to Michael. The 2 Williams working well together. Wide for Dangerous Dan there, trying to avoid a corner cut by staying off the circuit for a little bit longer, but let's look at this battle right now. It just won't stop. Outside line this time. Dangerous Dan looking to get the inside for 2, which is looking like a better choice actually, and he doesn't even need the second corner. He's straight through into 3rd place. Behind that, it's single file for the moment. Stygian is in 5th, ahead of Josh and Aldef. And behind that, it's Cornish, Michael, Dan and Sainz. Oh! Late defence from Dangerous Dan there. Bush just about able to keep his nose out of the back of his teammate there. Goodness me, there's hardly any time to breathe in this race so far. So much going on. Quite a few penalties as well, which is going to settle these battles probably. Or at least partly will. It's not going to stop them battling though. Case in point, right now, on your screen. Out of the final corner they go, and Stygian's got a fantastic run. He's right behind Hush, who's right behind his teammate. Look at this, down the inside of Dangerous Dan he goes. Stygian's going to follow him. It looks like he's going to get it done as well. Hush gets it done at least, and Dangerous Dan is down to 4th again. Oh, Stygian outside line through 3 and 4 now. Trying to get the exit he needs. Oh, it's a fantastic exit. Dangerous Dan's been completely balked there, and Stygian through into 4th. He's made great progress in this race so far. Meanwhile, Stygian's up the inside of Hush here. It's 3 wide off the corner very nearly, as Dangerous Dan is trying to get through. Hush just hasn't got the grip for that anymore. Neither has Stygian. Oh, it's a huge accident. Massive crash involving Stygian and Dangerous Dan. They're both in the wall. And that is a real shame to end that battle in that way. Rejoins in front of Shrimper, who doesn't know which way to go at the moment. He's doing the best of the medium time runners, by the way. It's good to have him on our screens for the moment. Involved in a little fight. But that was bound to happen. These guys playing for keeps right now. It's free wide into turn 1 again. The crash last lap has not put them off by any means. Aldef straight through to 3rd. And Hush straight down to 5th. What a crazy fight this has been. Unfortunately, it's been reduced to 4. And Hush is struggling to stay within the group. Cornish gets through fairly easily in the end. Stygian's into the pit lane then, with Dangerous Dan continuing on, but goodness me, that was a big accident. Hush very close behind Cornish for the moment. About a quarter distance in this race now, although not quite, just over a quarter distance. Well, we've got a brief break, by the way. I'll have to mention again that a quick shout out to everybody who's donated, because we've reached over £1,000, and that's fantastic to see. Hush going to get down the inside of Cornish here. I was hoping this battle's going to be resolved quickly so I can continue with the housekeeping, but apparently not. These guys don't want any breaks. And they're not giving it to us right now, which is totally fine by us. Absolutely loving this racing that's going on between all of these guys. Hush straight down the inside of it again. He's been involved in pretty much all of the battling so far. And Cornish batted out wide and not able to get round the outside there. Michael's involved now as well. Sink Dan on the back. It looks like that's RSF1's Source behind as well, who's a lap down for the moment, I'll add. Big runs onto the front straight again, and straight down the inside goes Michael. Don't think the teammates are going to fight that one too hard. And indeed, Michael straight down the inside of Hush as well. Going to take 2 for the price of 1. Hush not having any of it. Make sure he gets the inside line for 3 and 4. Seems to be very important. Big blockade now behind as Sink Dan tries to get on the inside of Cornish. Big battles going on, and it's all over 5th place. Very close. Side by side again. Push around the outside, and we've seen now this kind of battle has ended before. Very tricky corner, especially in these cars at this stage in the tyre life. It can be so tricky, but they've all come out the other side all fine. These guys are the last of those who are actually on tyres, by the way. First on mediums, as I mentioned, but catching these guys now because of the battling that's happening, and this is why. Look at it. Cornish down the inside of Hush. Michael on the outside of Dan. And Cornish looks like he's going to get it done this time. He's been struggling to get through. He goes deep though. Oh, he had the move done, but goes deep into the corner. And straight back through. Hush says thank you very much and takes the position back again. Cornish not letting him have it all his own way though. Very close again. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2 at the moment. That's Josh. Josh has gone for a spin somewhere. And he's really struggling. Tyres really running out now. It looks like he's almost got a puncture. Or he's just got incredibly overheated tyres. I think it's the latter. But Shrimper's through anyway. And Josh is going to be into the pit lane at the end of this lap, I can be sure of that. So is Cornish. And we're starting to see these scheduled pit stops now from those at the front of the field. Josh was running with Albert a moment ago, by the way. And they were starting to make inroads into these two, in the lead they're held by these two anyway. It's down to 6 seconds at its narrowest, but it's extended out again now. One of these two presumably going to have to be in at the end of this lap. Hard tyres it looks like to go to the end for Cornish and Josh. Soft hard looks to be the strategy. If you can make it work, of course, if you can contend with the oversteer through corners like turn 7. Some haven't been able to. Dangerous Dan and Stygian come to mind. They came together, let's not forget. Those two who crashed are now on the alternate two-stop strategy, as both Mr. Pidgemunch and Easton stay out here. Mr. Pidgemunch now using the ERS and the DRS to slip straight through. Easton resistance at all. Cornish gets another 3-second time penalty, by the way. That's his second. As Michael comes into the pit lane. DRS enabled again for Easton, but no moves. 5 drivers still to pit who started on the softs. And a couple of fights going on up and down the field. The one for first between the two AlphaTauris is quite exciting, as you can see. And Jay Slee versus Invade is going on for 7th place. First of those who stopped, Cornish. Out there, sorry, Sainz he's on the 2-stop. He's out in front of Cornish there, which is a good performance from him. He got caught up in that battling a little bit earlier on, so might have to come to him a little bit later on. Meanwhile, Mr. Pidgemunch is into the pit lane. Race leader led 1 lap. We probably didn't even lead that one, actually. He was briefly in the lead, and he's not again. He's on the medium tyres. Looks like a 2-stop for Mr. Pidgemunch. Now, Easton will have seen that. Is he going to react by doing the same or the opposite? Meanwhile, this is now the battle for 6th place. It's Jay Slee versus Invade. Ferrari coming out on top, not without a bit of contact. There behind is Mr. Pidgemunch. Look at the gap he's got. 10 seconds to Sainz. He's going to have to push though, especially if Easton's going for the 1-stop. I'm not sure if he's going to or not. It's a very interesting race though now. Finally poised. Really in the balance, but important now for Mr. Pidgemunch. Get through this well, not lap traffic, excuse me, but traffic that's in the way. He needs to get through quick. If we can get through and get them in front of Easton so that Mr. Pidgemunch can run away here, then that'd be glorious news for him, but he'd be lucky to do so. Easton, meanwhile, puts on the medium compound tyres. 2 stops coming out then. Aldef as well. Or are they taking them to the end? We'll find out. Mr. Pidgemunch down the inside of Invade. And he gets through. There's Easton in the background, and it's a big gap actually. Big undercut, even at a short circuit like this. A big gain. Meanwhile, Aldef gets out in front of Sainz. Dan is all the way behind Stygian, who's recovering now. Meanwhile, Mr. Pidgemunch through on Jay Slee. And that's very important for him. He's going to have broken the DRS to Easton now. It's going to be an all-out fight between those two. An all-out brawl. Are they going to be going into the pit lane again, though? We just don't know. I don't, anyway. We'll see if anybody in the chat can provide us with any answers to that, but more donations coming in, by the way, and I'm glad to hear of it. Easton gets down the inside of Invade. £1,050. We've had another couple of donations in the last 15 minutes or so. Thanks very much for those. Easton trying to get through on Jay Slee, and it's going to be quite easy for him. Not much of a fight put up between these two. Since they're on different strategies, it seems pretty pointless. Push is still out there, having not stopped yet in this race. Maybe a 1-stop for him. Shrimper is catching up and closing quite quickly though. 1 second now. Gap between Hush and Shrimper. Very close. Easton gets back within the DRS zone, by the way. Of the DRS range of Mr. Pidgemunch with the fastest lap of this race. So, not quite half distance just for the moment, but not far away from it. And many different strategies up and down the order. Completely crazy at the moment, and it's brilliant. Don't know who's going to come out on top next, and that's what makes it so interesting. But either way, Shrimper now looks like he's going to be able to get through on Hush here before the others get to him. So he's at least going to lead for a little bit of time, and I'm glad to see that. I think we all are. Decent exit from. Is Hush going to give it to him? He does indeed. Doesn't get in the way too much of the Renault, so Shrimper leads lap number 25. And that is very good to see. The man who we're all hoping for at the moment, that he's able to pull through. Man, this charity stream is for indeed. Over the next just over 3 hours it is now. We'll finish up at midnight UK time. Got just under 3 seconds for now. 2 AlphaTauris behind. And then it's all in bits and pieces really, with lots of different strategies going on. Hush comes out just ahead of Dangerous Dan on the medium tyres, so yeah, it's going to be a one-stop for him on mediums. So maybe these guys can go to the end on mediums as well. To be honest, we're not entirely sure right now, which is good to see indeed. Yeah, the crowd is going wild indeed. That is good to see. Just over 2 seconds, and Shrimper's going to enjoy this moment for the next... I think he'll be out for another 10 laps maybe. I don't think he's going to stay in the lead for that long, but he's led another lap there. So, putting in a great performance today. Especially since his qualifying position. I think it was 18th by the end of qualifying. But to be first now, I know this is because he hasn't stopped yet and everybody else has, nearly. He's one of 3 people not to have stopped yet, but he's still leading the race. And that's very good to see. Probably the closest battle going on circuit at the moment, this between Mr. Pidgemunch and Easton. Waiting to find out really who's going to the end on these tyres and who isn't. I don't think Science is. But we're really going to get an indication when Shrimper comes in and whether he goes for softs or not. I think he'll be able to stretch it to a soft tyre stint. Those tyres went about 22 laps, 23 laps at most. Bush took them a little bit longer. Took them upwards of 25, but about 32 laps to go. Oh, sorry, on lap 32, we'll surely find out roughly about then what tyres it's going to be. Meanwhile behind, Jace Lee and Invader on the same strategy here, and they are fighting. Quite hard actually, around the outside for the Ferrari. Would be impressive to see him pull this one off. Oh, very close, tucks in behind. But Invader gets through. Bit of a train going on from Cornish down to Hush, and that's not a surprise. But, I don't want to miss any battles up front of the lead as well. Easton's very close to Mr. Pidgemunch right now. I'm starting to reel him in. Got to say it's between those two for the race win at this point. Big battles, big defence going on again. As a spin for Lincoln, I'm afraid. He's been on those tyres for a very long time now. And so he's feeling the effects of it. It's the 2 Williams cars now, side by side, but not for very long. Through goes Michael. The 2 AlphaTauris as well going to be side by side in a moment. Well, I thought they were going to be anyway. Not quite. They're not really catching Shrimper, who is holding on to this lead admirably. He's going to have led his 5th lap here by the end of this. So I believe Pidgemunch, Easton, Aldaf, Singadan and Hush are all going to the end. Everybody else might make a stop. And maybe include Michael in those who's not stopping again actually. And Cornish, maybe. But I don't know if they're going to be up towards the front for the lead or not. Here we go. This is going to be for the lead. Easton versus Mr. Piddymunch. Being very nice to each other there. Mr. Piddymunch was... No, you go first. Easton, no, you. And Easton finally took the bait. Oh, go on then. I'll lead for a bit. And he has been leading for quite a long time so far in this race, but not now. He is leading those who have already stopped in this race and are going to the end, but not leading the legitimate race just yet. Lap 30, Shrimper still leading as we've passed half distance. Push has recently got past Sink Dan, by the way. We believe those four are going to the end, and they're not going to be separated, I wouldn't imagine. It'll be a big fight between all of those guys. Looking forward to getting into that a little bit later on. Aldaf has caught Invade and Jace Lee. So this is going to be a fight now for 4th place, this group anyway. Aldaf moves himself up to 5th. Fairly easy in the end. Cornish is going to be under a lot of pressure now from Hush. How many moves are going to be made here? One at least. Williams on Williams action then. Hush tries to follow Cornish through. Does he get the inside for 3 and 4? No, not quite. Close, good effort, but not quite. Actually, Dangerous Dan, the other Mercedes, is getting involved now as well. We're trying to. And he maybe is going to the end. I don't reckon he is though. He's got 6 laps more than Sink Dan on his tyres. So, going to be close for Dangerous Dan. But the two Dans are together now on the circuit. As Shrimper comes into the pit lane. He's led a good 6 or 7 laps there. And he's into the pit lane now on the start of lap 32. Aldaf gets through on Jace Lee as it is soft tyres for Shrimper. We'll see where he gets up to in this order. Meanwhile, in the crazy group, Cornish is leading, but apart from that, it's complete madness, really. Down the inside goes Hush. It's a good effort from him, but he can't get the inside for 3 and 4, which is really what he needs here. As meanwhile, that's Saint off the road. No, sorry, it's Jace Lee, I believe it is. Oh dear. He's had such a good performance so far as the Ferrari driver, but not anymore. It's all gone a little bit wrong for him, I'm afraid. Down the order he goes, 11th place for him now. And he's going to have to be into the pit lane now for a new set of tyres. Invade can't be far behind him in the pit stop cycle. Oh, off the road a little bit there from Sink Dan. It's these two, Cornish and Hush, getting away from the rest ever so slightly. Michael's just tying up a little bit on this lap, and so losing time. Now Hush wants to get through on Cornish as quickly as possible to try and exploit this gap. And he looks like he's going to manage it. He does, pulls into line as well. Sink Dan gets through on Michael. So this group's getting stretched out now. Shows that the pace is on, but Shrimper's got the pace of everybody right now. He's in 11th, but he could be looking at a top 5 by the end of the day. What a great sight that would be. Maybe even more for him. He's definitely going to get Invade Saints. I'd imagine he'd get these 4 as well. The way they're battling right now. Down into the final corner. And what a great race this has been so far. Still over 20 laps to enjoy as well. Push now leads the train. And Shrimper, despite having not the best final corner I've ever seen, is still going to be lining up to make the overtake here. It just shows the tyre grip he's got right now, and maybe not the confidence on the brakes though. Just wants to keep his nose clean for the moment, I'd imagine. Doesn't want to get into any contact. That's the key here. Stay out of other cars is ideal, would be ideal. But when somebody goes for a move and there starts to be side by side, it won't stop. It will just It's like throwing the grenade into the group. It will explode and cars will be scattered everywhere. Hopefully not car parts will be scattered everywhere, but hopefully we get some good racing. Shrimper's crawling all over the back of Dangerous Dan right now. Well, he feels like he's crawling a little bit as well. He knows he's got some extra pace here. Oh, that's a good exit. This time, surely, he's using the ERS, but Dan's probably doing the same to try and defend. So it's a little bit tricky for the Renault, but he should get down the inside, and with the extra tyre grip, he should manage this now. Down the inside at turn 1, and Shrimper is inside of the top 10. Dangerous Dan pushed outside of it, but we're expecting him to make another stop anyway. How can he take Michael as well here, Shrimper? Oh, he will. Look at this. Straight down the inside again. Hard tyres for Michael probably aren't helping, but Shrimper won't care. He's through. 9th place for him now. Meanwhile, Push has completely dragged the whole of this group up towards Sainz. As his teammate retires in the pit lane. Push is looking to get through into the top 5, which might turn to the top 4 because Invade's got to be into the pit lane soon, and he is now. So this is all over 4th place now. Push broken DRS actually, but it's not phasing him. Down the inside he goes, and through he goes. As they all stack up behind. Goodness me, look at this. Push into 4th then, but can he get away? Oh, that's going to help. Sainz goes wide. Cornish might want to get through now if he wants to stay on the back of Hush, but even that's going to be difficult now. Maybe Shrimper another move into turn 6. He made one this time last lap, but not quite this lap. Although, wide for Dan, and maybe the outside line for Shrimper. It's going to be very close between the two of them. Oh, around the outside for Shrimper at turn 7, and he gets through into 7th place. A fantastic move. Very, very difficult corner to make anything work. I know he's got the extra tyre grip. It's still very brave to do that, and if the car on your inside gets it wrong, then you are absolute toast. So Shrimper now is going to get another 2 places. 3 overtakes for him in 1 lap here because Cornish is a sitting duck. Sainz is into the pit lane, and so Shrimper is inside the top 5. What a remarkable race from him. Wasn't looking good for anybody starting on the alternate strategy earlier on, but now top 5 is on the cards for Shrimper. Fantastic drive from him. I know everybody in the chat's going to be cheering him on, and why not? Great performance right now. 20 laps to go as we reach the end of this one then. Easton and Mr. Piddywatch already coming over the line. Invade, Jace Lee and Sainz all on the soft tyres at the moment, but surely they're too far back to do anything now. They've lost too much time earlier on in this race. So I need to drop my controller, apologies for that. Sink down the inside of Cornish. And that is an easy manoeuvre. The hard tyre runners, the 2 Williams cars, are the only 2 really going for this, apart from Munson, who's a fair way back. Other than that, oh, wide, oh, contact! Cornish has to gather himself together, and he'll be lucky, or he'll be counting himself lucky, that Michael wasn't any closer. That could have been worse. Could have lost some places due to that. Battle for 4th place. Hotting up a little bit. I think Shrimper will be able to get through on Hush here with difficulty, but it's going to be very difficult for him to stay in front. Remarkably, no safety cars yet in this race. Given the racing we've seen and the one fairly large crash, I'm a little bit surprised, I must say. This is why we've got a short, quick, quiet moment in the race. don't forget to keep those donations coming in. We'll add another couple. 25 people now contributed for £1,070. It's a great total from everybody. And thank you very much to that. The link will be posted in the chat fairly regularly by the bot or by somebody else. Either Shane or somebody will post it in there every now and again. So you can go and donate, and I'll be doing that after I'm done streaming this. As I said earlier, been a little bit frantic setting all this up, but I'm glad we have been able to, and we've been treated to a fantastic race as well. Here's Dangerous Dan having a look, having a think, but not having a go at Michael there. Run out onto the front straight again, sorry, the back straight, parallel with the front one. Shrimper gets very close to Hush, and he does get a very good run out of turn 4, just the Renault driver. And we've seen him already make one or two moves through the turn 6, 7 kind of area up here at the back of the circuit, very north. But it's difficult to do it around there, so it makes it all the more impressive that he has done a couple of times already. On board with him at the moment though. Still 17 laps to go as these guys run over the line. But Shrimper is not waiting around. Using his ERS already, he's got the DRS flap open as well, and Hush is going to let him through for now. Or does he? Because Shrimper goes wide. It's going to cost them both times. Shrimper gets a penalty. Hush down the inside at turn 4 again, and Shrimper into 4th place. That penalty does mean he's going to have to stretch a 3-second gap to Hush if he wants to stay there, but the rest of them behind have also got penalties. So I think he's looking good for a top 5 right now, unless there's a real catastrophic implosion in these final 15 laps or so. This is easily the biggest battle pack we've got going on right now, by the way, as Lincoln retires in the pit lane. Sink Dan heads it, and he'll be starting to reach a crossover point with these hard tyre runners behind him. Those mediums are going to get worse than those hards behind soon. And we believe Dan's going to the end. We believe everybody's going to the end from here, actually. With the recent pit stop of Dangerous Dan, that is now the case. Still plenty of battles going on, and the battle for the lead isn't settled either. Easton versus Mr. Pigeonmunch, who's got nearly 100% ERS right now, and Easton's got nearly 90, so those two haven't been exactly pushing that hard recently. They've got nearly 8 seconds behind them, so they can afford to play around a little bit here, but not forever. Closest battle on the circuit right now is these two. Jace Lee versus Sainz. There's a bit of a squirt of ERS on the exit of that corner there, and big slipstream as well. Sainz could be through here. There he goes. Jogs him to the middle of the road a little bit there, just Jace Lee, so not giving up too easily, and going for a cutback actually. Going to get the outside for 2, but more importantly, the inside for 3 and 4. And the place again, side by side still. And Dangerous Dan is going to be loving this, because he's going to get in on the act now. Almost a dead heat in the drag race between the two, heading towards turn 6. Oh, goodness. Jace Lee just chops across the nose of Sainz. Legally, I would say, but forcefully at the same time. Munson gets a penalty coming out of this corner here. And these three are all bearing down on the Red Bull very quickly, I would say. Down to third gear briefly for Dangerous Dan, trying to get the run if you can, but Sainz has got a better one. Used some ERS there as well to get, wow, straight through. This time he cannot overshoot his braking if he wants to hold on to the place, and hits his marks nicely. And Dangerous Dan's going to try and go straight through here, down the inside at 4. It's tight though. It really narrows at that cut through because it's not really meant for F1 cars. It's not used very often. Probably most commonly used by smaller cars for those slower ones that are not quite capable of producing a sensible lap time on the full circuit. You can just use that short cut through to maybe make things a little bit easier for yourself. Mr. Podium looks like he's made a mistake somewhere because he's 1.5 seconds behind Easton, and we're not sure why at the moment. Down the inside goes Jace Lee. That's a very good move. Not giving this one up just yet, and Sainz has to. Oh, he hits the back of Jace Lee, and it looks like there's going to be a bit of an overtake now for Dangerous Dan. I wonder if Sainz got some damage from that, actually. No, he got away with it, but he's down the inside of Jace Lee here into turn 6. Round the outside goes the Ferrari, and the Mercedes going to follow him behind, not quite. Nose to tail between these three. This is over the wooden spoon, let's not forget. Not even a top 10 place. And they're still battling very, very hard indeed. 12 laps to go as these guys cross the line. So not long left now. It may seem like a lot, but it's not really. Unfortunately, I don't really want this race to end. It's good entertainment, certainly. Through goes Sainz, and looks like, oh, close. Dangerous Dan trying to follow him, but couldn't in the end. Jace Lee had to make a late move to defend, but he managed it. Lee's crossing the line again, and Easton this time really exploiting this gap. I think he got it through a mistake of Mr. Pidimmunch's, and he's not looked back since then, has he? No clues with anybody really as to what the issue was. We were looking at more interesting battles further back really than those two following each other to the final few laps, but it doesn't look like we're even going to get our lead battle in the end, which is a shame. But these things happen. Can't have it all our own way. Oh, big spin! Jace Lee! He was in 12th. He's now not anymore, because that is a big moment for him. Gets recovered nice enough. But that's going to put play to his chances of finishing ahead of Sainz and Dangerous Dan. Loses 8 seconds in that spin out the final corner. Unson's holding on incredibly well on these tyres. Into the pit lane comes Mr. Pidgemunch. What is this about? Soft tyres? Doing something different? He's realised he can't win this one in a normal way. He's going to have to do something different. Meanwhile, Shrimper's onto the podium. 3rd place. Fantastic effort from him today. Let's hope that it stays that way. I know we're not supposed to support as commentators, but I think we're allowed an exception on this one. Mr. Pinions comes out just in front of this barrel pack. Sink Dan, Cornish and Michael. Can Shrimper hold on for this podium then? It's looking difficult for him, I have to say. 9 laps to go as Easton crosses the line now. Shrimper's still got 9 laps in the sector. And he's got Mr. Pidgemunch 6 seconds behind him. He needs to keep him 3 seconds at least. Can't see this really working out for Mr. Pidgemunch in terms of a race win, but he's going to have fun getting the fastest lap, I'd imagine. Cornish Looking to the inside, not getting through though. Was a little bit wide, just think down there, but Cornish didn't get the greatest exit himself, so. Now, I think Mr. Piddymunch is going to get within 3 seconds of Shrimper here, because he's going to catch Hush, I'd imagine, before the end of this race. However, what Shrimper's got to hope for is that those two fight hard and lose a lot of time. It's not impossible. Easton and Mr. Piddymunch themselves got a 7 or 8 second gap because of a fight behind them. So it's not impossible. Meanwhile, Easton's on his 50th lap, just going towards turn 6 already. Quick laps around here, as you might have noticed by now. Further behind, Dangerous Dan is down the inside of Unson. Oh, he's wide, trying to avoid a penalty. Oh, that's a bit of lag. Big defence from Invade there, who's trying to hold on to his 9th place, but it's all going to change here, I think. Unson down the inside. Looks like Science is trying to go for 2 there, as Hush gets a penalty. So Shrimper no longer needs to worry about Hush at all. Just needs to keep 3 seconds on Mr. Piddymunch, which makes his job a little bit easier, unless he gets another penalty, of course. Science gets through on Unson, and the Red Bull is probably not going to finish in the points today, I'm afraid. A good drive from him on the hard tyres to keep with these guys on the softs. It's a good effort, but not quite enough of a good effort, I'm afraid. Dangerous Dan, good exit off of turn 8. Still a couple of these battles going on at the moment. Seven laps to go as these guys cross the line. Well, for these guys it is anyway. For Easton, it's just over 6 because he's coming towards the final corner right now. Big squeeze! Dangerous Dan on against the pit wall. Invade doing all he can to try and fend off the Mercedes, but couldn't really do much in the end. Science made a big mistake there. And he's down over a second below or behind these guys. Cornish gets another penalty. I think that's 9 seconds for him now, as we're going to go up to the battle for 4th because Mr. Piddymunch has caught up to Hush. And he's straight through. No waiting around at all. Oh, straight towards the pit wall. Hush does all he can. It's not going to matter too much for him though, because even if he does fend him off, he's going to need 3 seconds over Mr. Piddymunch, which is looking unlikely. Now, can Shrimper hold on to a podium? What a great drive this would be from him if he could. Meanwhile, Dan and Cornish now battling. They've realised suddenly it's nearly the end of the race and they better get a move on. And so some of these guys are, if you can of course. I don't think those medium tyres are giving Dan very much back right now. They're as old as Easton and Aldef, but neither of those two I just mentioned are in battles, so you've not really got a very relative pace on them. Fastest lap of the race for Mr. Piddymunch, under 1 minute with that lap time, as these guys have less than 5 laps to go now. Getting towards the end of this race. What a great race it's been as well. Don't forget to donate. Recently just posted it in the chat, the link where you can go to. And so let's hope we can get a couple more of those before the end of the stream, or this one. As Dan round the outside at turn 4 again, it looks like Michael might try and get involved as well this time. Nearly 3 wide between these guys. As Aldef has gone for a spin at turn 6, which allows Shrimper up into 2nd. And so he might get his podium. Aldef is really dropping back. I think he might have a puncture. Is he? No, he's just got really overheated tyres and he's struggling out there. Goodness me. Aldef from 2nd place. And that completely turns the race on its head. Easton now leads by over 17 seconds, but that doesn't really tell the story of the race at all. He's got no penalties either. Really quite dominant from Easton today. Good performance as the two Williams cars go side by side. Michael looking strong late on. He's got RSF1 in the wrong order there on his gaming tag. I'm sure that's deliberate, but probably some inside joke I'm not quite aware of. But there you go. I hope he hadn't timed that wrong anyway. It cost him a lot of money, that. Anyway, 3 laps to go as Easton crosses the line right now. And Shrimper is looking very good for a podium. Yeah, I thought it was deliberate. Thanks for clarifying, though. It would be quite embarrassing if it wasn't. Anyway, we'll leave that aside. We'll leave Michael alone, as Mr. Podium's not leaving Shrimper alone for now. Not much that Shrimper can do, though. Mr. Podium gets down the inside and returns to second place. That's where he pitted from a few laps ago. And while this late pit stop has not really paid off in terms of the race win, I don't think he's going to care too much. Michael gets passed by Cornish. And these three, won't leave each other alone. Which we're quite glad about, actually, because fantastic racing between these guys. Unson, meanwhile, has been into the pit lane not so long ago. And so he has gone a lap down, first of all, but also put the soft tyres on. 2 laps to go as these guys get towards crossing the line again. Penultimate lap of this race. Getting a bit close between Shrimper and Hush, but I think he's going to be okay for a podium. It would be fantastic for him, really would. Be great to see. Down towards turn number 1 for the penultimate time. And no moves made in that particular group there. Let's see if Shrimper can hold on, though. .6 seconds. They've both got 3 seconds worth of penalties, I believe. I'll just check one more time. 3 seconds each. And Cornish has actually got 12, so he's going to drop a long way. But it could even be behind Dangerous Dan at this point. Not be great for him. But anyway, Shrimper's only got 3 seconds. So has Hush. The gap's 1.2. So he might be able to hold on here. It's going to be close. Easton is driving quite slowly at the moment. Excuse me. Driving quite slowly at the moment. Don't quite know why, but he is. So there you have it. Mr. Piddenwood's also slowing down for the moment. Don't quite know why, but they are. As we're on the final lap of this race, final couple of corners coming up. Easton pulls off to the side, and so does Mr. Piddenwood by the looks of things. Looks like they are going to let Shrimper win the race, which is very nice of them. They've got to be careful not to be within 3 seconds of him, though. I hope they remember. Either way, coming across the line, if not on the timing sheets, Shrimper's going to win the Bahrain Grand Prix. What a fantastic race it was. Easton's going to win it on the results, but over the line first, Shrimper takes it. Mr. Piddenwood ends up in second, and Hush couldn't quite get there. 2 tenths behind. Aldef manages to jump up to 5th in the end because he had less penalties than everybody else. Where does Dan get to? Because he had no penalties either. 7th place for him. A good performance. But there you have it. Great performance from Shrimper. Even if he was slightly gifted the moment. A very nice thing to see indeed. I know they did come within 3 seconds of Shrimper by the end, but who cares? He took the win on the road, and I think that's all he's going to care about. Finishes on the podium legitimately anyway, though, by the way. Very good drive. 18th on the grid, I think he was. And yeah, what a fantastic drive it was from him. And a great race in the end. Lots of battling going on up and down the field. One fairly big crash, but a very clean race as well. Two AlphaTauris on the podium. And yeah, it's been a great race indeed. Thanks for having me along, by the way, allowing me to commentate for this one. It's been a very good race indeed. So I thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure having you along. There's your final results. Shrimper took the win across the line, so there you go. That's all you can worry about for the moment. But yeah, very good drive. 19th on the grid, even better than I thought. There you go. Getting a podium from that position was very good indeed. We could do podium interviews if you want to. I'll give them a quick invite, but I don't really have much to ask them, to be honest. We can have a podium interview either way if you want to do that. But yeah, I noticed on the schedule that it's supposed to be 8 till 10, but we're about half an hour away from that, so but never mind. We'll get a couple of them in. Why not? Oh, no we won't, because that's just gone. Hang on. We've got to wait to invite them for a second here. Because the results have just disappeared from our screens. I'll just get a bit of a refresh on the total, by the way, as well. And don't forget you can still donate. Be posted in the chat every now and again, and you can use the link there. I'm getting question suggestions here as well. It's fantastic. I'll get these guys in. Easton, Mr. Pigeonmunch and Shrimper, since they finished on the podium, because why not? I'm joinable as well, by the way. Oh, you will do that. Thanks. Cheers for that. So yeah, we'll get Easton, Pigeon and Shrimper in. Alright, no problem. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, we sent the invite, so hopefully we get them all in. We've got Easton and Mr. Pigeonmunch, so we'll talk to them first. First of all, Easton, I guess, leading the race for a very long time, and the results saying that you win as well, but it doesn't really matter who won, to be honest, in the end. How were you finding that? It was a very race-long battle, actually, between yourself and Mr. Pigeonmunch. Just talk us through the kind of intensity of that in the second half of the race, because you two looked like you were pushing each other pretty hard. Yeah, somebody was actually asking that in the chat, whether you actually forgot about... You need to include your audio, by the way. Apparently they can't hear you.
I'll try this again.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, nobody could hear any of that. But I'll let you explain briefly, because somebody was asking in the chat a moment ago what happened with the 3-second time penalty, because you just mentioned it there, but nobody could hear you. So just try that bit again.
What I tried was, we'd also been Pigeon let Shrimper through on the penultimate straight, but then we forgot about the DRS. Not DRS, the penalty, which didn't go well. And then, as soon as I crossed the line, the engineers in the party said, remember the 3 seconds. So it didn't go very well.
Well, it could have gone better.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's safe to say. But you know, it doesn't matter too much in the end. Yeah, well, still good drive from you. So congratulations. Thanks for talking to us as well. Thanks for participating most of all. And yeah, we'll see you a little bit later on, I imagine. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. Mr. Pigeonmunch, second place, I guess, on the results. We'll talk to you second as well. Following Eastern for a long time, not using much ERS, of course, saving it up a little bit, but and make sure you include your audio just before I forget. I'm sure you haven't, but just before I forget. Anyway, you slipped out of the DRS quite abruptly, I would say, during. What actually happened with that? And what actually happened with that? And how did you end up slipping out of the DRS about halfway through that stint, or towards the end of the stint, shall I say?
Well, at the start, I got screwed over by someone that retired and the AI came out. So I lost the DRS to, I think it was, and Unity. So I had to drain all my ERS to catch back up to them. And it took about 15 laps to get it back up to like a decent amount. So I went for the got the lead. But Easton, I mean, Jesus, he had like 2 laps, so he closed like 2 seconds down, like no problem. So those, I knew that going past me, the only way was just staying in his DRS, and hopefully I was going to try and get him at the end, but he pushed, and then I messed up at the last corner and lost it. But they were all a bit of fun. I'd never been shot seriously before, so it was just a bit of fun, and I enjoyed following Easton for a race.
Yeah, you say it was your first time having a race, at least around Bahrain. So how did you like the circuit? How did you like the racing as well, which was very good to watch, I have to say?
Yeah, it's good. It's so strange because it's literally just a straight bit of corner, so to be really careful on the ERS, and it tends to be a as well. So yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it looked like it was a lot more interesting in the mid pack. I know that as soon as Unity fell to them, they had just lost so much time battling, and I mean, it was a pretty boring race from my side, but I'm sure it looked good.
Yeah, it was entertaining on the stream, so I don't want to say that's all that matters, but it's a benefit. Anyway, thanks for talking to us after the race as well. Good drive today, and most of all, thanks for participating in the races as well. And finally, moving on to Shrimper, who won the race across the line, 3rd place on the results, but as I've said, doesn't really matter too much. Really a good drive from you. I mean, a lot of people cheering you on in the chat as well, as you might be able to imagine. What was the final stint like for you? Because you had the soft tyres on, people around you were really struggling, and you were making your way through the field quite nicely. So what was it like from your perspective, just overtaking people left, right and centre?
Well, I knew that being on the softs into the second stint would be the better choice, and it was really fun. I just really enjoyed overtaking people and just going from 19th to 3rd. It was a really enjoyable race. I didn't actually make any mistakes for once.
It was a very enjoyable race, certainly to watch. We were following you for most of the second half, I would say, when you were on the softs anyway. But going back a bit further, you qualified 19th on the grid. I want to know if that was intentional or not, and
no.
Whether you planned to. Whether it was your plan to maybe start on the mediums because maybe it's the better strategy to do the medium to soft. Whether that was the plan.
No, I just messed up the qualifying completely. I was meant to start on the softs and be up, hopefully towards the front, but no, I just messed it up. But in the end, it turned out to be a bit of a blessing in disguise. Gave me a nice, decent race.
It did a bit. It gave us all an entertaining race, certainly. It's been great to watch you throughout this race. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I know that people at home have as well. Thanks for coming to talk to us for an interview afterwards as well. And
no worries.
Thanks for participating in the race as well. It's been good fun. And thanks to everybody who's participated, by the way, and watched along at home. It's been great to have you all along. I've thoroughly enjoyed commentating on this one. It has been good fun, and I wish everyone luck with the final couple of hours of the charity stream. That's it from me, and don't forget we've got more streams coming up in the next couple of hours, so make sure you stick around on the Twitch channel to catch those, and keep those donations coming in. It's been fantastic to see all of them, but that's it from me. Thanks very much to everybody who's been watching along throughout the last hour and a half or so, and I wish everyone luck with the last couple of hours. Goodbye for now.